This is my 1992 FD RX-7, which was parked in a barn for over 10 years. It's been really mistreated and abused for most of its life, was once used as a track car back in its day, and definitely not in the best shape. We're leaving it in the hands of Andreas at Fresh Finish Detailing so he can work his magic on it. Right away you can see that the paint has been chipped significantly, the wheels are corroded and aren't in the greatest shape, the guards and the guard liners are full of scratches and grime, the whole car overall is faded, including the hatch, the roof, the doors, the quarter panels, the rear bumper, and significant paint peel throughout. Shows that this car's definitely been through the worst of its time, and now it's time to bring it back to its former glory. If you aren't too familiar with my channel, be sure to check us out picking this car up.
Now that we have everything cleaned and prepped, all the dirty work is done on the car, it's time for the fun part. Snow foam. Gonna make it snow. RX-7 is officially washed. It looks a lot better than what it was, even though there's a lot of work to be done. But in saying that, it needs a clay bar. There's a lot of dirt in the paint. As I was running my sponge along the car, it's rough as guts. So I'm gonna refoam it. This is just the easier way to get this done, just to save gunking up my pad or whatever it may be that I do apply to the surface of the paintwork. Pull out all the dirt that is embedded into the paint with a claver. Let's do it. So we finally have Andrew's RX-7 back in the shop. So now that it's clean, we get a good look at what condition the paintwork is in, what we're working with, basically to diagnose what is basically involved in the detail now that everything is as clean as it can be. And from what I'm seeing, this paint has seen better days, that's for sure. We've got multicolored panels because whether they've been resprayed before or they've seen more sun than others, this is what we're working with. This is really faded. So we finally got the seats out of the RX-7. As you can see, there's quite a bit of dirt and, you know, embedded dirt into the carpet. That'll all get cleaned, carpet shampooed, and you name it. It's going to turn out awesome. So just to give you guys a good idea of how dirty just one seat was. This seat is still not clean. This is our driver's seat. This is the state of it. Pretty dirty. You can sort of see on camera how dirty this seat is. And that is the driver's seat. The passenger seat we've just finished. Steam cleaning back to front. Looks a lot better already. There's a pretty noticeable difference. There's a bit of dirt on the floor, but the real dirty stuff is right in here in this bucket. And we got this much out of it. And I'm going to show you guys how dirty this water is when I pour it down the sink. Just from one seat. Oh, you can already see. Years of dirt and grime embedded in that upholstery. That's disgusting.
For the engine bay, we advise Andreas to try not pressure wash the bay so we can avoid any hiccups with the electrical system and avoid water getting into places where it shouldn't be. Knowing that the car is over 30 years old and it had a few electrical gremlins before we picked it up, we just didn't want to deal with them again, so no pressure was used. But the entire engine bay was degreased and also a multi-purpose cleaner was used throughout, which had it come out looking far better than the way I ever imagined.
Painting your wipers. This is just unacceptable. We can't have that. Now, while we let these dry, we get back to the RX-7, and from cleaning the interior, this is why we do the interior first. I have made a bit of a mess around the car, so we'll clean that all up. I'll get the camera rolling and get straight into touching up some of the areas. So for instance, like this area right here and some of the bigger stone chips on the car, just to make it look a little bit more pretty, and get the machine out and get into buffing.
As for the paintwork, Andreas starts by measuring the depth of the paint with a paint thickness gauge. This basically gives him an indication of how much paint he's working with and how far or how harsh he can go with the polishing. Here he does a few test spots on the bonnet which show a very high reading, indicating that the car has had a respray in its time. A standard factory paint car, like the Tiguan in the back on the dyno, usually should range from around 100 to 150 microns. So now it's time to go over the whole car and measure the paint thickness to have a broader understanding of the car's paint work. Although there is a high reading in the bonnet and over most of the car, the guard in the rear driver's side doesn't have as much paint as the rest of the car, which luckily for the paint thickness gauge, he knows that he can't go as harsh around this area.
Going by the condition of the paint, generally factory paint jobs don't like fray up or frizzle up like this and fade out like this and peel like this. It's very rare that you do see this on factory paint, so in saying that, I am going to say that this whole car has been resprayed.
Now Andreas is marking a little test area on the bonnet of the RX-7 to apply some polish so we can try and see how the paintwork will react to it, hoping that it comes out looking great again. Starting with a fine pad and a basic cut and polish in the first test sample, it does not show much of a difference to the paint, so it's time to step it up a bit. The next safe bet was to go with a harder pad but with the same polish as the first test. This made a bit of a difference but still wasn't the best finish, so we went even coarser. On the third and final test, a hard pad was used together with the Geon Compound Plus, which is more aggressive than the basic polish and compound. And it is safe to say that the gloss finally started to appear. Once he was happy with the result, he basically started to go all over the entirety of the car and let it speak for itself.
And this is the difference. You can still see that we have a few defects still, but look at that difference. Look at the gloss on it. There's a lot more gloss on it than the rest of the car. That is amazing. I can't believe that's what it's supposed to be compared to this side, compared to the rest of the car. And this is what we get. This is the result of detailing.
and here it is, the RX-7 is finally finished, and Andreas done an awesome job on the RX-7. Now you went far beyond what I was expecting. You've done an awesome job, and I'm so happy with the job you've done. Just explain to us, starting with the paintwork, Andreas, what have you done to the outside of the car?
So basically what we've done to the outside of the car, we went ahead with a full preparation process to basically start getting into the paint correction side of things. So with the paint correction side of things, we had to go for the hardest grade of compound and the hardest method to basically get it to how you see it. Just to start off with the first stage, which was a rotary machine, wool pad, and a hard compound, just to get some sort of gloss out from this paintwork. And then following with that, just a medium cut, just to remove some of the defects, or majority of the defects, say like scratches and swirls and stuff like that. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, we got defects all over the car still, but obviously it's going to be a lot more desirable to drive.
100%.
You know what I mean? And look good on the street.
Awesome. All that major fade on the bonnet, the roof, and the back bumper.
Yeah, especially this front bar. It wasn't feeling this smooth before. No, that's for sure.
No. Alright, so that's the paintwork done.
Yes.
Now on the interior side of things, what did you do to the interior, man? Because when I brought this car to you, it was absolutely filthy. And I said to myself, I'm going to leave it filthy.
Yeah.
just for the satisfaction of it being cleaned by you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Tell us what you did on the inside of the car.
So the interior of the car, the seats came out, we did a full steam clean on them with our obviously wet vac. Yeah. So we did that with the seats, we did that with the carpets, scrubbed them as best as we could. So they didn't have the smell, they didn't have anything.
Whenever I used to jump in the car, I used to feel so dirty jumping in it.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to jump in it with my work clothes. Because of how clean it is on the inside.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys a snippet on the inside soon.
Yeah.
But you've also changed the plastics in the doors.
Yes.
The door
some of the trim,
yes.
some of the trim pieces we replaced. Some of the trim pieces we added to the car to make it a lot.
A complete interior.
Yeah, complete interior.
Yeah.
Or somewhat complete, but it's a lot better than what it was when it walked in. You know, not having window switches and stuff like that.
100%.
But fitted all that, got everything else looking clean and matching with the rest of the interior. So the interior is really good now. Looks really good.
Really good. I'm so stoked with the interior.
Yeah.
And with the glass, what did you do to the glass?
So
please tell us what you did to the glass. Because when I was driving this in the sun, I could not see from the sun's glare coming into the windscreen.
So with the glass, there was some overspray on the windscreen, or on all the windows, if not maybe possibly the whole car. But obviously with our preparation process and how matte the car was, we didn't realise. But with the glass, we did. It was pretty obvious because obviously you couldn't see. Gave it a quick rub down with some steel wool and a bit of using a razor blade. Got some of the more stubborn stuff off, and now your windows are as clear as ever. As well as taking the tints off, which we didn't capture on camera. We didn't have time for, but. Now,
the tints aren't purple anymore.
Tints aren't purple anymore. Yeah. It's and it gives it a whole lot cleaner look as well.
100%. Awesome. And now the paintwork. You've talked about the paintwork side of things. You've talked about the interior and the glass.
Yep.
What did you do under that hood?
Under the hood. So under the hood, there was no pressure washing or any water involved in cleaning the engine bay. All we used was some multi-purpose cleaner, as well as a little detailing brush to basically get each individual part cleaned by hand, and then dressed it with some silicone to basically make everything nice and shiny and give all the trim pieces a nice look, a nice new look to them as well. So the engine bay looks phenomenal. Like for what it is.
It looked stupid before it came in, but now it's nice, shiny. and
Yeah.
amazing as ever.
Yeah, definitely.
With the black trim pieces on the outside of the car and the wheels,
Yes.
what did you do to the wheels and the trim pieces?
So the trim pieces, we actually coated them in a ceramic coating specifically for trim. It's a Geon's trim coating that basically, well, from before, I don't know if you remember, they were almost like a white or like a very light grey.
Yeah.
And what the coating does is basically gives it the original depth that from a trim piece should have,
Yeah.
if not better. Obviously, this one was a bit more battered than normal, but it has definitely done wonders for the front lip as well as the rear and all the other trim pieces as well.
I remember we tried a little patch somewhere here.
Yes.
When you were testing the product out.
Yes.
And it stood out a whole bunch.
Yeah, it completely changed the area, so it was no question but to just go ahead and do the whole bumper and the rest of them too.
Nice. As for the wheels, what did you do to the wheels? I know you went through an extensive process through the wheels.
Yes.
There was so much corrosion on them.
Yeah, so with the corrosion, we look, they are a battered wheel at the end of the day. Like, they weren't put through the best of times. So we just to get rid of that corrosion, we just hit them with a bit of Scotch-Brite, bit of clear coat, just to give it a bit of gloss again. But to get rid of that corrosion, we just Scotch-Brited them off, and yeah, that's as best as we can get.
Awesome.
Yeah. And also, just a little add-on to everything, we just chucked a bit of plastic dip on the wipers,
Nice and clean.
make them look nice.
They
again.
were looking a bit rusty.
Yeah, a bit rusty, a bit peely, you know, but yeah, nothing but a bit of plastic dip.
So you took all the wipers off, you rubbed them back, sprayed them with a bit of plastic dip,
Yeah.
and they're looking as good as new.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just that little fine detail makes a big difference in getting the car look just that little bit better.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
100%. So that's pretty much it to my knowledge. If you haven't done anything else that you would like to
Pretty
add.
much. Look, yeah. Look, it speaks for itself with
Just that shine.
how much like this car has actually changed for the better.
Look, there is a bit of paint chip. There is a bit of stone chips,
Scratches.
scratches. The car's been through hell and back.
Yeah,
But-
not what an RX-7 should have gone
No,
through.
not at all.
But
But
we did what we can, and we worked with what we could to get it to where it is now. And
so happy
this
with
is
that.
only the start.
that's it. So happy with the final product, Andy. Thank you so much for your time, your effort, and all the work you've done to the RX-7.
You're
Guys,
welcome.
if any of you want any detail work done to your car, be sure to hit up Andreas at Fresh Finish Detailing, and he'll make your car look as good as the RX-7 does.
Yeah, this
Oh,
was
better.
Well,
The
look,
RX-7.
this was definitely a challenge. So we're happy to take on things like this.
I
But
think this was the most challenging car you've ever done.
I say so.
Yeah.
It's up for you. Yeah.
There's no normal person will bring you a car this battered.
No.
So you please just do whatever you can.
Do whatever you can. No. With it, yeah, like I said, it's very rare to see a car, especially like this, in this kind of a state. But we're willing to take on any challenge. We're happy to, do whatever we can to get it as best as we can, or as best as it can be.
That's right.
I guess so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Comment down below what else you'd like to see from us, or if you want to see any more detailing videos. I'm sure Andreas will allow us to put the camera on some and give you guys some exciting detailing content. Also, if you haven't watched us pick up the RX-7, be sure to click on this link and watch the full build series on getting this RX-7 up and running on the road. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.